Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to work with GitHub, which is a remote, we can set up a remote repository for our application. Alright, so first thing you want to do is sign up if you don't have an account. I already have an account, so I'm going to sign in. Alright, and what we're going to do, and just to look around here a little bit, if we go to your profile, that'll show your popular repositories, your contribution activity, things like that. Okay, these are all the repositories that I currently have in my account. You can have followers, you can follow people, things like that. I'm not going to get too much into this interface, but what we want to do is create a new repository. So we can click this plus sign up here and say new repository, and let's just call this my app. You can give it a description. I'll just say test app. You can choose public or private. Now private, I believe you have to have a premium account, so we're going to keep it at public, and you can choose to initialize it with a readme file and also a git ignore, but we're not going to check that off. We're just going to leave that, and then we're going to click create repository. Alright, so we now have a repository at github.com/whatever your username /myapp. Okay, and this basically tells us what we need to do. Alright, and a lot of it we've done. We've done git init, we initialized it. Okay, and in this case, they're adding a readme.md, which is a markdown file, which I'll talk about in a second. And then they're committing it, and then this is where we need to, what we need to do. We need to add this repository as a remote repository. Alright, and then we can push to that repository. So let's go over to our command line here, and notice I'm in the master branch. Switch over if you're still in posts, and we can actually say git remote, and that'll show us the remote repositories we have, which obviously we don't have any yet. Alright, so let's go ahead and add this. We'll say git remote add origin, and we want to say https github.com, and if you're using your own repository, just use your username and then the name of this repository. In my case, it's going to be myapp.git. Alright, so that added it as a repository. Now what we want to do is take everything in it and we want to push it to the remote repository. So we're going to say git push -u origin, and we want the master branch. Alright, so it'll go through this little process here, and now if we go over and we reload, you can see that all of our stuff has been added. Now if we want to edit a file, let's go to our readme here, and we'll say edit 6 and save that. And then let's go over here and say git add readme.text, and then we'll commit. We'll say git m readme edit. Okay, so we committed it to our local repository, but if I reload this, you don't see edit 6 because we haven't pushed to the remote. To do that, we can say git push. Now notice I'm not going to put in that origin master, I don't need to. So we'll just say git push. And now if we go over here and reload, you can see we have edit 6. So anyone can now clone this repository. Alright, you can see over here there's a clone or download, and you can actually download the entire zip file, or you can clone it. So let me show you how to clone it. I'm going to go ahead and let's go into projects, and I'm going to create a folder here, and I'm going to call it myapp2, and then let's open up git bash window here, and I want to clone this repository. Okay, I want to bring it in, so git clone. Actually, you know what we're going to do is, let's actually delete this folder because it'll create the folder for us when we clone it. So let's delete that and let's open up projects in Git Bash. All right, and then what we'll do is say git clone https github.com/bradtraversy/myapp.git, and then we're going to put the name of the folder we want to clone it into, which is myapp2. All right, so now if we go and we look down in projects, we now have myapp2. Open that up, and there's our repository. Now let's say we edit something here. Let's open this README, and we'll add in here edit 7, and just do that as well. And we'll save it, and then let's go and say git add readme.text. Oops. Okay, now it says not a Git repository. Oh, we didn't go into the correct folder. Let's say cd myapp2, and then we'll do the add, and then the commit. Okay. Now what I want to do is push back to the remote. So let's say git push. All right, so now if we look, now we have edit 7. Okay, now our version over here, the my app. Okay, let's go in here and look at that README text, and that doesn't have the updated edit 7. So what we need to do is pull that down from the repository. So let's go over here and we'll say, I think we can just do git pull. Okay, so now you can see that it's been pulled down and we're getting edit 7. All right, so we can push and pull to this repository really easily. Now, when you have a GitHub repository, you can see that it automatically shows the README file, which is nice. But it doesn't. It's not formatted too well. If we look at, let's look at one of my other repositories, and you'll see that this has, and it's nicely formatted. It has a nice heading. It has different headings, different sizes. We can have code blocks. We can have links and all that. All right. Now, the reason that we can do all this is because we're using Markdown. All right. You can see it's called readme.md, which is a Markdown file. Markdown is a very lightweight markup language with plain text formatting syntax. So what I'm going to do is go over to my app, and I'm going to create. Actually, you know what we'll do is we'll rename this. Let's rename it readme.md. All right, and a lot of times the readme will be all uppercase. All right, so I'm going to open that up. I'm going to open up with Visual Studio Code. There are Markdown editors, but I don't have one installed. Now, we do have a section on Markdown, so I'm not going to go through all the syntax. I will show you that if you want a heading, we could just put a hashtag or a number sign here, and that should make it a heading. That'll make it an H1 or the largest heading. If we want to do an H2, then we can put 2 of them. Okay, if we go like that, and we'll say latest edits. All right, we actually want to put a space after it like that. All right, so let's save that. Let's clear that out, and we're going to say git add all, and then git status. And you can see that it says we renamed readme text to readme. So we want to commit that. So we're going to say git commit, and let's do -a. Whoops, not 1. -a -m. Put in our message and run that. Okay, so now we want to push to the repository, so we'll say git push. All right, and now let's go back over. Whoop, that's not it. Let's go to the correct repository, which is right here. And now notice that this is formatted much better. Okay, it's using the readme.md, and the readme.txt was deleted. All right, and you want to make sure that when you do that, and you want the other file deleted, you use the A flag that we used here. All right, so that's it. All right, so you should now be able to use Git in your projects. It's really not that difficult, and once you get used to it, it's just automatic. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.